Hey guys, it's Melanie. Today's video is just going to be a chatty vlog style video, so if you're not interested in stuff like this, now would be the time to tune out. Also, before I get started, it's a very sunny day. This is a very yellow room. I hate the color of this room. When it's really bright out and that combines with the color of the room, it makes me look like I have jaundice. There's nothing wrong with my health. There's not a whole lot that I can do. This is one of the main reasons that I need to hopefully paint this room sometime very soon. It does mess with the lighting quite a bit. But anyway, today's video is one that I've honestly been putting this off for a while because I'm a little bit embarrassed about essentially what I let happen. And so this is about my journey with intermittent fasting and what happened when I stopped doing intermittent fasting on a regular basis. If you are new to my channel, I started intermittent fasting back in 2017. I think I started it in May, I want to say. I honestly don't even remember the exact time, but I documented for a full year every month of this intermittent fasting journey that I was on. And that journey kind of drove a lot of people crazy because when I was doing my updates, I wasn't weighing myself. And I wasn't giving like numbers, like I wasn't giving you guys hard numbers about how much weight I had lost. And that really was because I wasn't doing it for a weight loss reason. If I lost some weight in the process, obviously thumbs up, that's fantastic. But it wasn't initially why I started it. I started it because I was just feeling very sluggish. I was feeling very tired. I was feeling very unfocused, unmotivated. I just needed a change in my life. I was also just dealing with a lot of bloating and just feeling like my gut was never getting a break. I am someone who loves to eat. I am built very solidly. I am German, like as in originally from Germany, and my entire family is just built like tanks. Like I have a very athletic, muscular shape, and I've never been a dainty, petite, little, delicate flower. It's just not my body type. So I knew that whatever weight loss I achieved, I would never look like a Victoria's Secret model, and that was never my goal. It really wasn't. My goal was to just be able to very comfortably fit into my size 10 clothing, which for me is kind of my ideal size. I know that a lot of women like to be much smaller than that. For me, size 10 was great because it's still, I felt like right around that size, I was still able to enjoy a lot of things in life. You know, I could have cocktails when I wanted, I could drink wine, I could have, cake. Like my goal was never to be a size 8, which I feel like for me would almost be too thin for the type of frame that I have. So that was really kind of my only goal, was to just feel better, feel less bloated, maybe, just be very comfortable in the size 10 clothing that I had so I didn't have to like change my wardrobe entirely. So that was really my only goal. And I was able to achieve that with intermittent fasting. I didn't really step on the scale, which again, drove a lot of you nuts who watched that journey. You wanted numbers, but for me, I tend to get very obsessive. It's just my personality type. I have to be very careful with the way that I do things because my brain tends to focus in on things and then I just get very fixated. And I realized that that can be a very unhealthy tendency for me. And so I purposely did not weigh myself every single morning. I didn't even weigh myself every single month because I didn't want to think about the number. That is just something that I knew was going to be an issue for me. So I just took it off the table entirely. Like I didn't have a scale. I didn't want to look at the numbers. I wanted to base it on how I felt. And I felt great. All of my bloating issues went away. I could tell that I slimmed down Not significantly, but if I had to like think about it in my head, I probably lost about 10 pounds. Like, it wasn't anything drastic for me, but it was a significant enough to make me look a lot better in my clothing. I felt a lot better. Things weren't as tight. I didn't have that extra fluff to me. And I was also working out super regularly. I was going to the gym 5 to 6 days a week, and I was doing a lot of weight training. I was doing also some cardio in there as well. And I just felt amazing. And then I hit a wall. And it all kind of started when we wanted to sell our house last year, and we wanted to buy a new house, the house that we're in right now. That was a very stressful time. And it was during that time that I started kind of faltering with the intermittent fasting. And I just wasn't doing it as regularly as I was doing it before, which was 7 days a week. I was very just not strict, but it was when I felt the best. And so I just naturally was fine doing that 16-8 split, which is the method that I use. So I believe that's called the lean gains. So I would fast for 16 hours, and then I would have 8 hours during the day to eat. So typically my eating window was from about noon to like 7:30, the latest 8 o'clock. And I did really well with that. And I just kind of started like not doing it as often. Still, for most of 2018, I was doing it probably more than not, if that makes sense. So at least 4 to 5 days a week, I was still doing the fasting where I was skipping my usual breakfast and mid-morning snack that I used to have. And I was not replacing those calories in the afternoon, if that makes sense. So I wasn't eating like the calories that I would have had for breakfast and mid-morning snack in the latter part of the day. So I think that's what allowed me to trim down a little bit for sure. Again, it was probably only about 10 pounds. I don't know for sure because I didn't check. So anyway, we go through most of 2018, and in the fall, like basically right after my summer wedding season ended, which was kind of stressful this year, I just hit this wall of like, I just want to eat all the time. And I don't know what happened, but there was just this switch in my brain where I stopped doing intermittent fasting. And so in September, I did weigh myself, and I'm not going to tell you guys the number because it's irrelevant. I will tell you how much I gained because I just got on the scale about a couple weeks ago and had kind of a like, oh, that's a big difference moment. But so I weighed myself right around September, and I wasn't upset with the number at that point, but I could tell that by September, I was starting to feel bigger again. My size 10 clothes were starting to feel a lot more tight on me. And I wasn't going to the gym as regularly as I was in the past. I was only going about 3 to 4 days a week. And the intermittent fasting at that point was again about 4 mornings out of the week I would skip breakfast, and then the other mornings, if I felt like eating, which was usually out of boredom, I just did it. I started eating, and then it just went downhill from there to the point where by the time that I reached December, I was basically eating again in the morning probably 5-6 days a week. There was maybe like 1 day out of the week where I was doing the, intermittent fasting where I was not eating until noon. And again, the gym had dropped off to about 3-4 days a week, somewhere around there. And I got on the scale and I was 10 pounds heavier than I was in September. And I am still right now at the end of January when I'm recording this, 10 pounds heavier than I was last September. So, yeah, which means I probably, because I wasn't doing the intermittent fasting super regularly from the time that we moved into this house until September, there was probably also some weight gain there as well during that time, because I could tell that things were just not fitting as well. Probably only about 5 pounds, somewhere around there. Most of us can kind of tell our weight fluctuations very easily by looking in the mirror. So there's probably been about a 15-pound weight difference from when I stopped really doing the intermittent fasting on a regular basis. And I'm super disappointed with myself. This isn't like oh, I'm just beating myself up over it. It's more of a, like, I'm disappointed because I felt so good when I was doing it, and I sort of let life and stress and just doing the easy thing of stuffing my face when I felt like it get to me. And I pride myself on being a very disciplined person. I really thrive in an environment where I have a very strict schedule, where I have my day sort of laid out. I know not everybody is like this, but it's just my personality type. It's what works for me. This may not work for the vast majority of you, but for me, having a very strict schedule and a way of doing things helps me stay focused. It helps me feel my best. It helps me get everything that I need to get accomplished during the day. And that makes me feel proud of myself and like I'm living my best life, right? So, yeah, I guess the moral of this story is that intermittent fasting really was a fantastic fit for me. And I am disappointed in myself for falling off the wagon, because I felt so great when I was doing it. And it took me a little while to get into it. And so my goal now is to get back into it. I have been just in the last week trying to transition back into not eating breakfast, not eating my mid-morning snack, and fighting through those what are now hunger cravings again, because my gut had gotten used to getting that breakfast, getting that fuel in the morning. But honestly, that makes me feel worse after eating it, because I feel sluggish again. The food in the morning doesn't help me get my brain started. What seems to work for me is not having food in my stomach. For some reason, that helps my mind focus a little bit more. It helps me feel more energized for whatever reason. The food is what makes me feel sluggish. Also, I've noticed that a lot of my gut issues have started to come back. I'm dealing with a lot more bloating now. Just not feeling great. And I want to get back into it. So that is what I am going to be focusing on over the next few weeks, is just fighting through those morning cravings of like wanting to put something in my mouth. I need to get back to doing the intermittent fasting, at least for the time being, 7 days a week, because I have to get into the routine of it again. Once I'm in the routine, I can on Sundays break the fast a little bit early. We have this little tradition in our family where we go and get breakfast burritos from this amazing Mexican restaurant every Sunday. Typically we don't eat, it's more of like a brunch type situation. So we're eating probably around 11:30. So I'm not even breaking the fast that early on Sundays, but I need to, just for the time being, get back into that very strict, very focused way of doing the intermittent fasting, where I am not eating in the morning, and I need to not eat until noon. I do allow myself coffee. That is always something that I have allowed myself, and I have always, even when I was doing the intermittent fasting properly back in the day, and I, trimmed down as much as I did, I do allow myself just a splash of the Califia almond milk. So it's not a ton of calories, but it takes away that harshness of the black coffee for me, which I really kind of struggle with. I have had lots of people recommend to me the keto diet. I'm not going to do keto. For me, that would not be sustainable long term. That is just not a lifestyle that I think would be healthy for me. What has worked the best for me is just the intermittent fasting of eating between noon and about 7:30 and then just cutting it off. And then going to the gym on a regular, consistent basis. That is what works for me. So that's what I'm going to get back into. So I have sort of rededicated myself to this. And I'm going to do it because I did it before. It's a struggle to get to the point where it's just an easy thing to do every single day, but I need to fight through that. And I'm going to do that. And I'm going to get rid of these 10 to 15 pounds. I'm not going to get on the scale again. Again, I know that just drives people nuts that I don't give specific weight loss numbers of like, oh, I'm down 2 pounds this week, or I lost only half a pound. Like, because that's really not what it is. It is truly more of like, I want to feel less bloated all the time. I want to be able to have more energy. I want to be able to be clear-minded. Those are probably the 3 most important things for me. And then number 4, yes, I want my clothes to fit better again. I don't want to replace my wardrobe. My wardrobe isn't that fancy or expensive to begin with, but I really don't want to have to size up. I want to be able to wear the clothes that I have, and I want to be comfortable in them. That's all that I want out of this. So, if any of you have fallen off the wagon, if you want to join me on this journey, I will start doing the monthly updates again at this point, just to let you guys know how it's going. Intermittent fasting isn't something that a whole lot of people are really like focused on anymore. It seems like everybody is kind of on the keto train right now. But again, I have looked into that particular diet. I have seen the types of foods that are allowed, and I wouldn't be able to survive off of that and be content. I just wouldn't. The types of food that I like to eat, I like to eat a little bit of everything. I really do. I think the key is moderation. And that's something that I think if everybody sort of learned that and was able to do it a lot more naturally, then most people would probably feel a whole lot better, and as a result probably drop some pounds if you needed to. Not everybody has to lose weight, and you can be perfectly content and comfortable with yourself at any size. But I can tell you that right now where I am at, the way that I feel, the way that I look, I'm not the most comfortable with it. I know that I can feel better, I know that I can look better, and I would like to get back to that. So and I'm gonna do that with moderate eating. So I'm gonna eat carbs, I'm gonna eat fruit, I'm gonna eat vegetables, I'm gonna eat fish. We don't eat a whole lot of red meat, just because I'm not really all that great at cooking it to begin with. I will have sweets every now and then. I will have wine. I love wine. And I will have a cocktail when we go out, but everything in moderation. That is kind of what I think is the healthiest approach just to life in general. It is the least restrictive way for me to live my life, and it's what helps me succeed. But the key really is that intermittent fasting of giving my gut a break for at least 16 hours. You know, I don't have any like intentions of doing 24-hour fasts or, you know, for fasting 20 hours a day. I don't need that. I know that 16/8 works the best for me, so I'm gonna go to it and I will update you guys, let you know how it's going. If you wanna join me again on this journey, I know a lot of you did the last go around. Let's support each other. Anyway, so yeah, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. And I will see you when I do this update next. But in the meantime, there's gonna be a whole lot of other videos. So if you are interested, please subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.